Another major misconception out there is the misconception surrounding the dangers of fentanyl. Far too many people still do not truly understand just how dangerous this substance really is, and that misunderstanding is one of the reasons so many lives continue to be lost every single day. It has reached a point where the word fentanyl is heard so often that some people begin to treat it like background noise, something distant, something that only affects other people. But this is not distant. This is not rare. This is happening in real time, in real communities, to real families, in places that look just like your neighborhood. The most dangerous part of fentanyl is not just its potency, it is the uncertainty surrounding it. People are not always knowingly using it. It is being found in counterfeit pills that look identical to prescription medication. It is being mixed into substances that people believe are something else entirely. That means the risk is not always tied to intent. A person does not have to be trying to take fentanyl for fentanyl to take them. That reality alone should change how seriously this issue is taken. Once you understand that reality, the entire way people think about risk starts to fall apart. It is no longer just about personal choice or informed decisions. It becomes about hidden exposure, false assumptions, and situations where someone genuinely believes they are safe when they are not. That is a fundamentally different kind of danger than most people are used to dealing with in everyday life, because it removes the sense of control people think they have. It also creates a false sense of security in situations where nothing looks unusual on the surface. A pill can look exactly like something prescribed by a doctor, something familiar, something that has been seen before in legitimate contexts. That familiarity is part of what makes it so dangerous. People trust what they recognize, and in this case, recognition does not guarantee safety. Another issue is that most people do not have the tools or knowledge to identify risk in real time. There is no simple way for an average person to visually confirm what is inside something. There is no obvious warning sign in many cases. That gap between appearance and reality is where so many tragedies begin. People are not making informed decisions about fentanyl in those moments. They are making assumptions based on incomplete information. On top of that, the unpredictability of supply chains makes the danger even more unstable. What someone thinks they are getting can change from one batch to the next, or even from one pill to another within the same source. That inconsistency means there is no reliable pattern for users or bystanders to depend on. It is not a controlled or predictable environment, and that unpredictability is part of what makes it so lethal. There is also a growing issue of normalization. Because people hear about it repeatedly in news cycles and social media, there is a risk that it starts to feel distant or exaggerated. But repetition does not reduce danger. If anything, it often signals that the problem is widespread and ongoing. When something keeps appearing in headlines, it is not because it is going away, it is because it is still happening. And in many cases, by the time awareness reaches someone in a meaningful way, it is already tied to personal experience. That could be through a friend, a family member, a classmate, or a coworker. It becomes real only after loss occurs, which is exactly why earlier awareness is so important. Prevention depends on understanding before tragedy, not after it. That means the risk is not always tied to intent. A person does not have to be trying to take fentanyl for fentanyl to take them. That reality alone should change how seriously this issue is taken. There are situations where people are unknowingly exposed through counterfeit pills that were never what they were supposed to be in the first place. There are situations where individuals believe they are making a one-time decision with something safe enough, only to find out too late that the assumption was completely wrong. And there are situations where trust in a source, whether a friend, acquaintance, or online contact, becomes the deciding factor in a life-or-death outcome. None of those scenarios require intent. They only require exposure. It is also important to understand how quickly those moments can unfold. There is often no gradual warning that gives time to reconsider. In many cases, the difference between safety and tragedy is measured in minutes. That speed leaves very little room for correction, intervention, or realization of what is happening. It is one of the reasons why relying on figuring it out in the moment is not a safe approach. This is also why education and awareness need to happen before any exposure takes place. Once someone is already in a risky situation, the ability to make fully informed decisions may already be compromised. That is why conversations at home, in schools, and among friends are so important. People cannot respond to danger they were never taught to recognize. There is also a responsibility that extends beyond individuals and into communities. Schools, families, friends, and local environments all play a role in how informed people are. When information is missing, misinformation fills the gap. And in a situation like this, misinformation can be deadly. That is why consistent, honest education is so important, not to scare people, but to prepare them. Now, to anyone reading this personally, I want to speak directly to you. If you have never been exposed to anything like this, do not assume that means you are safe from ever encountering it. A lot of people who were affected never thought it would come anywhere near them either. It is important to stay aware, stay cautious, and stay willing to ask questions when something does not seem right. One of the simplest but most powerful protections is knowledge. Knowing what counterfeit pills look like, knowing that prescription looking does not always mean safe, and knowing that trust in the wrong moment can have irreversible consequences. If you are someone who has been around environments where substances are present, or even just social situations where experimentation is common, understand that pressure and curiosity can be extremely powerful. A single decision made in a moment of uncertainty can carry weight far beyond that moment. It is not about fear, it is about awareness. The goal is not to shame anyone, but to make sure people are still here tomorrow to learn from today. If you are someone who has lost a friend, family member, or someone close to this crisis, your experience matters too. The grief that comes with fentanyl loss is complicated. It can bring confusion, anger, regret, and questions that may never fully be answered. It is important to recognize that carrying that pain alone does not make it easier. Talking about it, sharing it, and allowing yourself to acknowledge what happened is part of the process of not letting that loss be silenced or forgotten. And if you are someone currently struggling in any way, emotionally, mentally, or otherwise, I want you to understand something clearly. There is no situation so heavy that it is not worth reaching out for help. There is no moment so low that it defines the rest of your life unless you let it. The hardest part is often speaking up, but silence can be far more dangerous than people realize. There are people who would rather listen to your struggle than lose you to it. At the end of all of this, the message is simple but serious. Fentanyl is not something to underestimate, normalize, or ignore. It is a real threat that demands real awareness. Not fear, but understanding. Not panic, but responsibility. And not silence, but conversation. If anything in this message reaches even one person in a way that causes them to pause, think differently, or make a safer choice, then it serves a purpose beyond words. Thank you for listening. Until next time.